Hey everyone, Shabim here, and we are back with more 205 Live, finally! It's been a long time since I recorded some of this. Of course, we got pretty hyped up on the old New Japan Universe mode, getting all that done in the weekend of Wrestle Kingdom. So 205 Live is now officially back, and tonight, it's a big one. And to start things off tonight then, we have got a Lucha triple threat. We've got Rey Mysterio, Gran, Metalik, and Kalisto. And first of all then, we have got Gran Metalik. Great guy, old Gran Metalik. Very interesting, of course, beaten finalist in the very first Cruiserweight Classic. I'm hoping they do another Cruiserweight Classic pretty soon. They've done 2 UK tournaments now. Done 2 Mae Young Classics, so hopefully another Cruiserweight Classic this year. Who knows? Next up then, it is the legendary Cruiserweight himself, Mr. Rey Mysterio Jr. I think if I was WWE, I would have allowed this guy to work 205 Live as well. I mean, working SmackDown, especially when 205 Live is recorded after SmackDown, I think they really could have utilised this guy to really help put some of the younger 205 Live talent over. I don't mean go on there and dominate. I mean, just a few appearances here and there just to try and, like I said, put over the younger talent. They've been a great way forward. And next up then, I think it is the best Cruiserweight currently on the WWE roster. Unfortunately not working 205 Live anymore though. It is Kalisto. And here we go then into this triple threat. Now I'm very much upon the opinion that... I thought I was Rey there for a mistake. I'm very much of the opinion that... that 205 Live shouldn't necessarily be like a brand. I think 205 Live should be like an extra show as such, so I feel like just because the likes of Lucha House Party or Mustafa Ali or Rey Mysterio or people on them sort of lines of work in the main roster, there's no reason why they can't do some work on 205 Live as well. I mean, I know they've sort of got it as a separate brand at the moment. It's sort of like a step up. Well, I don't think it's technically a step. It technically is a step up from NXT. Between the main roster, but I just feel like it might be better off just having just having anyone who's eligible to be able to be on there, but not necessarily be full time, and that'd be a good way forward. People like Mike Bennett then can still work main roster. You can use other people as well. Then you can really bolster your roster, like I said, with Rey Mysterio Jr., Lucha House Party, and you can even bring in a few legends every now and again. We obviously know there's some sort of allowance for Jushin Liger. He's worked them once before. People like Tyler Breeze, I think, will be pretty good on 205 Live as well. But again, he's doing well on SmackDown, so they don't want to do that. So I feel like it would make more sense just to allow people to work that show as well, rather than treating it as a separate roster that you have to be part of, or not part of, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's a weird one, isn't it? It is a weird one. Either way, triple threat rules in this one. I'm sure some of you will be happy to hear this is not a elimination like my normal ones. Just a standard triple threat match. This one, I feel like triple threat is fine as a standard match. It's the fatal 4-ways that I think suit better to elimination style. Triple threats in this game I think are very good actually. Well, they are once you get to a certain point in the match. Early on they're a little bit rough because it's very grabby. But when people start to get knocked down, and like the situation where you just get a chance to have a one-on-one while somebody else is backed in a corner or outside, then I think it does work pretty well, breaking the pins and making the saves, and it can make a very, very good match. I think one of my favourite matches of all time we've done on this game was, I think it was last year or the year before. It might have been last year's game. I think it was right at the very beginning when I just did a Raw Universe mode. And we did, I think it was Brock Lesnar versus Kevin Owens versus Sami Zayn in a triple threat match at Royal Rumble for the championship. That was fantastic. That was my favourite all-time match I've done on this game. Well, not this game, but anything on this in this franchise. I feel it was a fantastic match, which I think ended up with Sami Zayn winning by getting Brock Lesnar to tap out to the Koji Clutch, which I thought was absolutely fantastic, to be honest. So they were the best matches in my opinion. So there's still a few issues with this game. I think it's still not perfect, but it's got no competition at this point in time. However, in real life, we've found out over the past few days there is going to be some competition in the wrestling world by the looks of it. Cody Rhodes making his announcement about his new company, bankrolled by Shadiq Khan, who I'm sure everyone knows Shadiq Khan because he's... If you're from the UK, Shadiq Khan is one of the owners of Fulham Football Club in the Premiership. And if you are American, then Shadiq Khan is one of the owners of the Jacksonville Jaguars. And he's bankrolling the operation. They're going to get TV time. They've got Chris Jericho and Neville signed up. It's looking fantastic. It's looking like an amazing universe mode we could do at some point. But we'll have to wait for a bit more details on the roster. We could probably guess a lot of it, to be honest with you, and steal a few from WWE. That's going to be an interesting one. I think I'd like to potentially do like a WWE and AEW universe mode alongside each other. And maybe utilise like stealing talent and stuff like that. Because I quite like the idea of stealing talent and stuff like that. Contracts coming to an end and outpricing them and that sort of stuff. I do like that sort of idea. That's why I thought... That's what I'd like WWE to do more. I'd like them to sort of sell like a... an actual rivalry between the two shows. I mean, there's only ever a rivalry between the two shows when it comes to Survivor Series. I'd love to see sort of like trying to steal talent from each other, and they do it every now and again, like vaguely. Like I know they were both competing to see who would sign Lars Sullivan, which seems to be a very long-standing storyline because it's still ongoing. And I just like that idea. I like the idea of maybe, I don't know, AJ Styles' contract coming to an end and Raw trying to poach him, or vice versa, maybe Finn Balor's contract coming to an end. They do it very, very rarely, but I'd like to see it happen a bit more often. Or challenging each other to sign the NXT talent. The hottest young talent coming up from NXT, they can compete over the signing, and somebody makes like promises, like we'll promise you a shot at the Intercontinental Championship if you come to Raw, or we'll promise you a SmackDown Championship match if you come to SmackDown, that sort of stuff. I like the idea of that. But that's their best chance. They haven't got any real competition at this point in time. So the best chance is being their own competition. And I think that would work really well as Rey Mysterio dials it up 619 to the face of Kalisto. And instead of going for that splash, comes back into the ring, goes straight for the pin. It's a 1, it's a 2. Metalik was down, but it's enough for Kalisto to kick out anyway. I think Rey only half hit his finisher, so he hit the 619, but didn't manage to get the other parts. Catching the clothesline there in Kalisto. X Factor by Rey Mysterio Jr. Rey now heads up to the top. He's going to go for something. He's stalking the grounded Metalik, who got back up to his feet and reverses it into a... Wow, he was going for a buckle bomb, but I think Rey missed the corner. There's the pin. 1, 2... Oh, it was only 1 count. Wow, okay. Rey completely no-sells that big move. Nice elbow in the knee there by Kalisto. Now rolling Rey through, boot to the side of the head. There's the pin. 1. Only a 1 count. Gran Metalik broke it up. Metalik taking Kalisto up onto his shoulders. Nice. There's the big slam. Referee's got his back to the pin. Now just spin around on a twopence. And there we go. Gran Metalik gets the victory. That's big for him. That is really big for him, because I would have said that obviously Rey would have been the favourite for this match with his experience. But then I also would have said that Kalisto's probably quite up there as well with his current ability. But for me, Gran Metalik is the future star, not the current star. And it looks to me like he's just pulled off a massive victory there. A victory that could really help his career. I don't know what we can do to really give him an opportunity further on, though. We'll have to have a look at it as time goes on. Of course, everything's... I don't really want to make another defense at the Junior Heavyweight Championship. It's a bit unfair, isn't it? Cruiserweight Championship has been defended a couple of times. We're coming up to another opportunity, I'm sure, at some point. Of course, we've already got Money in the Bank as well. So there's not much we can really do at this point in time. But we'll find something for him. I'm sure opportunities will come. Maybe we'll give him a chance at number 1 contendership at some point. Of course, we're nearly halfway through this universe mode now. Looking towards Shabby Mania. Maybe he can get a big opportunity there. Who knows? Anyway, let's push on. And here is our second match of the evening. Cedric Alexander is going to take on Tony Nese one-on-one. And here then comes Anthony Nese. That's not Anthony. There comes Cedric Alexander. Great wrestler. Hoping to see more from him in this universe mode. Maybe get himself in the championship picture at some point. And then here comes the premier athlete, Tony Nese. Somebody who I'm sure, just by the looks of him, Vince must be all over. You know what Vince is like. He loves a ripped man, old Vince. And here we go then. Cedric Alexander versus Tony Nese. Flatliner early on by Cedric Alexander. And a boot right across the chest. Both these guys need a sort of spark in this universe mode, I feel. I think Tony Nese, for me, would be a great person to maybe challenge for that Junior Heavyweight Championship at some point. Because I'm a big fan of Tony Nese. I feel like there could be some sort of tag team for Tony Nese. I feel like if they can get someone else like pretty stacked to the same sort of size, who am I thinking of who could be? Maybe even someone like Mike Bennett would work pretty well with Tony Nese, maybe. Bennett and Nese. Cruiserweight tag. They've got to do a Cruiserweight Tag Team Championship at some point, surely. 205 Live just needs something else going on, I feel. Because at the moment you just got the one championship, which is, I suppose, for a 1 hour long show is fine, but I feel like a tag team championship would be worth it. And again, if they just allow people just to work it, not make it a separate brand, but allow people to have the chance to just to work it, I think it would be quite entertaining. Because then you could really have more talent on there. I mean, Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly at some point as well, hopefully, like we've got. Finn Balor's of the right weight, he could be here. No reason why not. As Nese doing very well here. I'd like to see Nese win this one, I really would. I don't like to show favouritism in any way, but I mean, Nese for me is, like I said, is one of my favourites. I remember Tony Nese from a while ago. I first saw him in TNA. I think I've told the story before, haven't I, really? I first saw him in TNA when he was part of the gut check competition as Anthony Nese. He won his gut check, however, ended up in OVW and things didn't really go to plan. He ended up leaving, going onto the indie scene and starting to work Evolve shows and just getting better and better, and he's turned into the wrestler he is today. I think he's really underrated at this point, you know. I do think he's a fantastic competitor. And I'm so glad he's on the game this year, actually. Nice clothesline there by Cedric Alexander. So I work with a lot of French people. I have the accent every now and again. Cedric, he's on the outside. I don't know what he was going for there. He just seemed to hop back over, maybe change his mind on what he was looking at. If we could get like WWE signed Caprice Coleman, we could have CNC Wrestle Factory back. Nice. Almost like a Steiner screwdriver there by Cedric Alexander. One of my favourite moves, the old Steiner screwdriver. It's bloody brutal. I almost swore that. I suppose I did swear, didn't I, really? But I almost swore more. It's very brutal, that one. And now Cedric is looking for that springboard. He's going to be looking at some distance here. Nope, he's changed his mind. Instead, he gets clotheslined. Well done. Well done, Cedric. You've done well there. So our big main event tonight is going to be a tag team match. For the first time in this universe mode, we will see Neville and Austin Aries competing together as a team this time. Now, of course, we've seen them so far helping each other out in various matches. They will be taking on Pete Dunne and a partner of Pete Dunne's choice, which I'm sure by now everyone has guessed. It is going to be his fellow British Strong Style member, of course, Mr. Tyler Bate. Again, Cedric looking for some sort of high-octane springboard maneuver and deciding against it at the last moment. I'm not quite sure what the AI is telling Cedric to do, but it's not working at the moment as he gets clotheslined his head off once again. I think if he continues the way he does, I think Tony Nese might be able to steal the win here. Nese sends Cedric into the corner. Cedric with the back elbow now looking for the Northern Light suplex. Bridges for the pin. Only a 1 count though. Cedric now dropping an elbow right into the beard. The most manliest part of the body, of course, the beard. I wish I could grow a beard. I don't think I'll ever be able to grow a beard now. I'm 30-year-old. If I can't grow a beard now, I've got no chance. Unless I can go through puberty again, but I don't really fancy that, to be honest with you. Cedric bringing Tony Nese back up to his feet. Over the top he goes. And now it's Cedric. Cedric's going to taunt. Which, of course, is the wisest thing to do in this situation. Now he's going to shout in the face of Tony Nese, which, again, I don't think it's necessarily the cleverest move that Cedric's ever made in his lifetime, but it's not affected him too much yet. Cedric now bringing Nese back up and drops him face first. There's the pin. 1, 2, and 3. And Cedric Alexander out of nowhere finishing the match off. Unlucky for Tony Nese, but he has shown a great account of himself. But Cedric Alexander was just 1 step ahead and managed to pick up the victory. Well done, Cedric Alexander. That would have looked good in his record. And I think as we move forward, like I said, there may be some opportunities. At the moment, everything's a little bit settled, but I'm sure things will spark to life soon. I think the main event tonight is going to be interesting, and a nice handshake there between Cedric and Tony Nese. Now that, ladies and gentlemen, will be a tag team that I would love to see. Maybe next week. What do you think about that? What do you think about Anthony Nese and Cedric Alexander teaming up next week? Oh, my creative juices are flowing here. I might do a Dario Cueto and just play devil's advocate for an episode. I might even make it a #1 contendership match. Oh, the juices are really flowing now. That is a really interesting idea that I've got here in my little mind. You have to find out next time, but that could be very interesting. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna freaking do it. I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, I'm gonna stop babbling now. Main event time. And here we go then. Here is our tag team main event of the evening. Like I said, Austin Aries and Neville will team up officially for the first time in this universe mode to take on British Strong Styles, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. And here first then is your Cruiserweight champion, the king of the Cruiserweights. It is Neville. Of course, since we've done this little storyline of Neville returning to 205 Live, we've realised that I don't think that's ever going to happen. I think he's burned every single bridge he could have had by signing up for AEW, hasn't he? And his tag team partner is the greatest man that ever lived. Of course, it is Mr. Austin Aries. I wonder if Austin would ever sign for AEW, but then again, I would wonder if AEW would want Austin Aries. I mean, he sort of comes across to me as a bit of a pain in the backside. The way he left TNA is weird, if you ask me. I don't know if you've seen that. He basically no-sold a championship match in the main event. He no-sold the finisher, lost the championship, then got out the ring and walked to the back. And that was the last time he's been on TNA television. Apparently his contract has ended. So, pretty weird. But who knows? It'd be a big name for... I feel like AEW is going to be a place for the people that really dislike WWE to get together and try their hardest to remove them from the upper echelons of wrestling. And here comes their opponents then. It is British Strong Style, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. Here we go. Now this is going to be a tornado tag team match. So all 4 men are going to be legal at the same time. It's going to be very interesting, this one. Of course, Neville, if you don't know by the way the storyline's gone, essentially, our champion of the universe mode was Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne was supposed to be defending his championship against the #1 contender that was Eddie Guerrero. However, Eddie Guerrero was assaulted backstage a couple of weeks beforehand by Andrade Cien Almas, which led to Eddie Guerrero being injured to the point where he was unable to to make it to compete. Therefore, we promised a championship match. We gave a championship match. We made it an open challenge. Cashed in the open challenge was the returning King of the Cruiserweights, Neville. Neville was able to win his championship back against Pete Dunne. Then the next week, we gave Pete Dunne an opportunity to have a rematch against Neville. And maybe just trying it. We don't do automatic rematches for championships in this universe mode. You have to earn it. So the idea was that Pete Dunne would have a chance to try and earn himself another opportunity at the champion Neville. Neville was victorious in that match once again. However, midway through the match, there was interference from another returning wrestler in the shape of Austin Aries. Now, the week after that, we saw Austin Aries take on Pete Dunne one-on-one. Pete Dunne trying to get some retribution against Aries. However, during that match, as you probably guessed, Neville interfered and attacked Pete Dunne, which again helped Austin Aries pick up the victory. So it's been a pretty interesting run over the past few weeks, and Pete Dunne's good friend, Mr. Tyler Bate, is here to try and help get some sort of retribution. I don't know what would happen here. I mean, if Pete Dunne was to get a pin over Neville in this match, that might throw him back into the championship picture, but it's difficult to say for sure, to be honest. I mean, Neville is looking pretty strong at the moment. Yet to lose a match since making his return, of course, as the champion. Pete Dunne with a 2 count there on Neville. Like I said, if Pete Dunne was to get the pin on Neville, that would sort of throw him back in that picture. Well, I wouldn't say it would be enough to give him a rematch, but it'd be enough to maybe get him in the number 1 contendership at some point. We don't actually have a number 1 contender for this championship at this point, do we? We're just sort of seeing how this pans out at the moment. And remember, we are getting closer now to Shabby Mania, which will be our finale pay-per-view of this universe mode. We'll be coming up for you in about, I think we're about halfway through now. We're just under halfway through. Shabby Mania normally takes place on the 19th, 20th and 21st or something on them sort of episodes. So we'll have a chance to start to build towards that. It's a 3-parter normally. So we'll start to build towards that, I think, pretty soon. And I think some of the feuds are already taking shape. It looks like we're probably going to have some sort of feud-ending match between Eddie Guerrero and Almas at that pay-per-view. Of course, we've got the 3 championship matches as well. Maybe throw in a couple of legends here and there. As Pete Dunne now wrenching at the arm of Neville, dismantling him. And it's quite really interesting the fact that 3 of the guys in this match at this point in time could be part of our NXT UK roster. Of course, being Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate will definitely be part of it. And Neville was a potential one. We could really bolster the roster up by having a few of those other British guys in there, couldn't we, really? Neville stalking Pete Dunne. Neville, nice jumping Hurricane to the outside on Pete Dunne. Neville now bringing Dunne back up to his feet and for the forearm, but Dunne ducks it and catches Neville with a boot in the guts. And it's very difficult because, or very different style, should I say. Neville much more high-flying, much more speed, whereas well, Neville's the king of the cruiserweights. I think that makes Pete Dunne the king of the bruiserweights, to be honest with you. Pete Dunne, much more aggressive, much more solid, hard-hitting. And that's going to make things a little bit more interesting in this match. Very, very different styles. Austin Aries then throwing Tyler Bate back in. Oh. But Austin Aries now with the rolling elbow. The Bate fighting back. I thought Austin Aries might have had him there, you know. Pete Dunne takes Neville up. Nice jumping sit-out. The tombstone power driver. That's the words I'm looking for. I knew they were there somewhere. And the last chance we locked in here by Austin Aries on Tyler Bate. Neville has Pete Dunne locked in the corner. And that was enough to make Tyler Bate tap out. And there we go. Austin Aries and Neville continue their streak of victories. With another big victory here. Making Tyler Bate tap out to a last chance resubmission. It was a good match. It was a short match, actually. I was pretty surprised it was so short, to be honest. But there we go. Pretty interesting. And I think that means that Pete Dunne might be out of the championship picture now. However, the feud, I don't know, does the feud continue on? We'll have to wait and see, I suppose, how things pan out moving forward. And there was this tap out there by Tyler Bate, who had been locked in that submission for quite some time, but Neville had Pete Dunne out of action in the match. And Tyler Bate had nowhere to go. He had to tap out. Had to try and live and to fight another day, didn't he, really? And there's the handshake there between the two. I think these two have definitely formed some sort of alliance. Almost like a cruiserweight power trip here. The reasons behind this, I'm not entirely sure. We can only speculate, and bearing in mind that both guys left the company of WWE in quite bad terms, maybe they're coming back to right what they believe were the wrongs. And so far, they're in control. They have the championship. But how will things move forward? Anyway, that is the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you have, then please do hit a like and, of course, subscribe if you'd like to see some more. Next time, we'll be back. I believe we're back tomorrow. Is that right? Yeah, it's a Saturday today, isn't it? I've got no idea. I believe we're back tomorrow. Yeah, Saturday tomorrow. Saturday today, sorry. We're back tomorrow with our first proper episode of the New Japan Pro Wrestling Universe mode, so check that one out. It's going to be interesting. We're going to try and start with a bang. That, I believe, is going to be a longer universe mode due to the quality and the size of the roster. And this one's going to start to wind down now. It's got about 10 episodes left, which will be pretty cool. And then I think we're planning on after this universe mode to go straight into NXT UK. But once again, it will depend on if we can get good enough cores to really build the sort of roster we need. Anyway, I've been Shabby Gamer. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.